All right, let me share and get myself together. All right, folks. Welcome to Inside the Numbers with the People's Pundit. I am your host, Rich Barris, the People's Pundit. And don't forget, if you like the videos, to like them and to share them far and wide. I should get the little one to come in and do it later if he gets home in time before the show ends. He was good yesterday, wasn't he, Locals? I should clip that little kid. He was more convincing than me. We're everywhere at Peoples_Pundit on X and on the gram, Instagram. Don't forget to follow the semi-new Instagram at Peoples_Pundit. But of course, the best place to follow us, as always, is right below peoplespundit.locals.com, peoplespundit.locals.com. All right. There are a couple of things that I want to share with you about the poll, and we will get there. But obviously, the big news of the day is that the Supreme Court did, in fact, rule on the Voting Rights Act. All right. There is a couple of things that could have been on the table. It's still a significant decision. There's no doubt about it. They did not gut Section 2, all right, in the way that they could have gutted Section 2. But it is a significant decision because basically, and I'll read it in a second, what the Supreme Court ruled is that and of course this had to do with the Louisiana case, which I'll show you in a second, but it's of course going to reverberate to other states. And what they effectively ruled was that racial gerrymandering is unconstitutional. Now, before we get into the ruling, let me drill down on this a little bit. Racial gerrymandering, despite what you hear from Barack Obama and despite what you hear from like liberal analysts like Dave Wasserman over at Cook Political Report and elsewhere, racial gerrymandering is how Democrats stay in power. Racial gerrymandering is how Democrats dilute the votes of other Americans who they view as untrustworthy, unreliable, and have ever since particularly the late 70s and early 80s. They view them as unreliable, untrustworthy, and they cannot be counted on to not swing against them. So when the left in the 20th century, the latter part of the 20th century especially, and in the 21st century, unmasked themselves and tried to advance their agenda, they stopped pretending like there's some kind of conservative breed of Democrat or blue dogs there used to be. They just drop it because they think they have the numbers and they go for it. They go for the jugular because that's what Democrats do. White Americans reject it. And they have used racial gerrymandering to dilute other vote shares of other Americans because Black Americans have voted for them 90% plus consistently until 24 for many, many years. And I'm going to read, Alito wrote the decision. It's an amazing decision in the sense that Democrats sold this thing as a way for Republicans to, screw over Black voters, when in truth, the heart of the question was, is it okay, without factoring for partisanship as well, is it okay to use Black people, to exploit Black people, to dilute the votes of other Americans? That is what they did. That is what Democrat gerrymandering is all about. And it was only a matter of time before they did what they did, for instance, in California, to do the same thing to Hispanic voters, which they are now doing in California. And that is, again, using them against their own interest. And in fact, in California, guys, the funny thing about this is that Hispanics had been shifting to the right in recent years, particularly over the last 10 years in the state of California. And that map, despite it being professed to care about Black and brown people, that map actually screwed over Hispanics more than anybody else, particularly Hispanics in the Central Valley. It was meant to dilute their rightward shift. All right. But in the South particularly, Black voters have been like the bulwark for the Democratic Party. That's how they keep a seat here, a seat there. And of course, in the case of Louisiana, I'm not going to read a news report. I'm going to read the decision, really just 3 pages. Of course, in the case of Louisiana, this is a registration still Democrat, but obviously it votes Republican. But this was 2 districts, all right, specifically. Let's start from the beginning here. And again, We will get into, there's a lot in the poll that I want to do, but I know I said I would start at 1, but I wanted to start as early as possible because there's a lot to talk about, and I still wanted to leave time for questions and for going over the poll, and then still leave enough time for me to actually get the poll out and the press release done. All right, let me make it big so you guys can see it. All right, I'll put it even over myself. All right. Supreme Court of the United States, Louisiana v. Callis et al. Appeal from the United States District Court for the Western District of Louisiana. So essentially, they're deciding whether or not they're going to overturn a ruling from the Western District of Louisiana, a district court, obviously. All right, these cases concern, and this was decided April 29, 2026, today. These cases concern whether Louisiana's new congressional map is an unconstitutional racial gerrymander. In 2022, after the state redrew its congressional districts, a federal judge in Robinson v. Ardoin, I think is how you say it, held that the 22 map likely violated Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act of 1965, 52 U.S.C., blah, 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 because it did not include an additional majority black district. But when the state drew a new map that contained such a district, the new map was challenged as a racial gerrymander. The 3-judge court in Callis v. Landry held that the SBS violated the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment, and the state appealed to this court. The parties originally briefed and argued this suit last term, and their argument at the time highlighted problems in the existing body of case law. Now, if you guys remember the oral arguments, it did not sound good for all of Section 2, but it did not sound good for the Voting Rights Act or it didn't sound good for racial gerrymandering. Now that hindsight's always 2020, that's probably a much more accurate way to put it. And we're going to go through, again, before I continue to read, we're going to go through this opinion, guys, and then we're going to talk about what the opinion means, okay? Because I don't think it's being explained properly, and I think the right has a real opportunity here. If they don't gaslight themselves, this should be their clarion call for 2026. But in order for that to work, you cannot gaslight yourselves, okay? Stay tuned, and I will explain it more in a second. One problem resulted from the rule that in racial gerrymandering cases, unlike other cases involving claims of racial discrimination, strict scrutiny is triggered only if race predominated in the state's decision-making process. And of course, many of us who have been at this for a while, we always laugh at these cases when they've come before the court because, of course, they did. Another problem stemmed from the long unresolved question whether compliance with the Voting Rights Act provides a compelling reason that may justify the intentional use of race in drawing legislative districts. For over 30 years, the court has simply assumed, for the sake of argument, that the answer is yes. These and other problems convinced the court that the time had come to resolve whether compliance with the Voting Rights Act can indeed provide compelling reason for race-based districting. Now we're going on to this one. Held. Here we go. Because the Voting Rights Act did not require Louisiana to create an additional minority district, no compelling interest justified the state's use of race in creating SBs, and the map is an unconstitutional racial gerrymander. The Constitution almost never permits a state to discriminate on the basis of race, and such discrimination triggers strict scrutiny. The court's precedents have identified, quote, only 2 compelling interests, unquote, that can satisfy strict scrutiny. A quote again, avoiding imminent and serious risk to human safety in prisons. And 2, quote again, remediating specific identified instances of past discrimination that violated the Constitution or a statute. Stop right there. So Democrats, this is deeply damaging to our country. What the Supreme Court is saying right there is excellent because they're pointing out that, look, this is either to remedy something, right? And of course, that is because avoiding imminent and serious risks to a person's safety in prison is irrelevant. What we're talking about is whether or not, as a country and a representative government, we're supposed to pay for the sins of like racial history forever. And this way of thinking has held us back for a really long time. And it was always curious for me how Democrats were going to deal with this if Trump's coalition shift continued. Because, of course, why? Donald Trump did better in these urban areas that they used, black urban areas that they used to racial gerrymander. What were Democrats going to do when if and when those votes were not 95-5 anymore? Well, we all know what the answer to that is. They would start carving in between the ghettos that are still reliable. They'd make that share of the district smaller. It wouldn't only be majority. And they would carve in some white, gentrified, educated, liberal burbs. We're already seeing them do it now. We saw them do it to Hispanic areas where Hispanics were shifting away from Democrats. So we know the answer to that. So in practice, the argument that the left was going to come, well, it's not only that, it's really about partisanship too. That's bullshit. It's race when you need it to be about race. And then you want to make something up later on if and when the time is needed. And I mean, it's a joke. It's not even a serious argument, but this is what they would do. All right. So let's go back to it. All right. Where are we? Tiny little thing. Right. Past discrimination that violated the Constitution or a statute, right? The question presented is whether compliance with Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act should be added to this very short list of compelling interests. The court now holds that a compliance with Section 2, as properly construed, can provide such an interest. A proper interpretation of Section 2 requires examining the statutory text to understand what it demands with respect to drawing legislative districts. Under Section 2, the court takes as given that a legislative district map may constitute a standard practice or procedure that may violate Section 2 if it, quote, results in a denial or abridgment, unquote, of the right to vote on account of race or color. And that is in quotes, on account of race or color. Is that the only, I mean, judging by what I just said alone, can they make both arguments at the same time? I mean, if we're being honest, can you be consistent? Is it possible to make both those arguments work? We're addressing past grievances, but oh, by the way, this is only about race. Well, it's not though, totally, is it? Anyway, Section 2B establishes that a violation occurs when political processes are, quote, not equally open to participation by members of a racial group, in that they have less opportunity than other members of the electorate to elect representatives of their choice, unquote. The key concept is, again, less opportunity than other members of the electorate, which sets a baseline against which to assess the opportunity of minority voters. That baseline, the opportunity that any given group of voters has to elect their candidate of choice, depends on the voting preference of other voters in the district. For example, in a district where most voters prefer Democratic candidates, a Republican voter in that district will have a low chance of securing the election of his or her preferred candidate. Exactly. The roster of voters who end up in a given district depends, in turn, on the districting criteria the state uses to draw a legislative map. Thus, the opportunity of these members of the electorate to contribute their voices to a winning cause is whatever opportunity results from the application of the state's combination of permissible districting criteria. That is what a randomly selected individual voter and group of voters can expect regarding their opportunity to elect their preferred candidate. Under Section 2, a minority voter is entitled to nothing less and nothing more. Ooh. I mean, obviously, they're not buying the argument that we have to, like, forever in perpetuity give special consideration to certain people because of things they may have endured in the past. You got what other people get. This interpretation is the best reading of the statutory text and ensures that Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act does not exceed Congress's authority under Section 2 of the 15th Amendment, which confers on, et cetera, and then we're just going to a state to create a new majority-minority district. At every step of the Gingles framework, the Robinson plaintiffs failed to prove their Section 2 case. On the first Gingles precondition, the Robinson plaintiffs did not meet their burden because they did not provide an illustrative map that met all of the state's non-racial goals, including the state's political goals. And herein lies their problem with arguing two things at once. On the second and third Gingles preconditions, the Robinson plaintiffs offered evidence that black and white voters consistently supported different candidates, but their analysis did not control for partisan preferences. And on the totality of circumstances, the Robinson plaintiffs failed to show an objective likelihood and intentional discrimination, instead relying on historical evidence and evidence that failed to disentangle race from politics. Affirmed and remanded, bottom line. That is a very quick, and this is done again by Alito. This is a very quick opinion. Roberts, Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, Barrett, Thomas, they joined. But Thomas filed a reoccurring opinion in which Gorsuch joined. Kagan filed a dissenting opinion. Surprise, surprise. Miss Leaker herself. Kagan, who leaked. I mean, everybody fucking knows this. I really applaud Mark Halpern for saying this out loud. Justice Kagan leaked the Supreme Court decision for Roe in an effort to try to get other justices to come back to the table, hoping the blowback politically would be so bad that they would change their opinion, like Roberts changed his opinion on Obamacare, which Kennedy repeatedly went back to him, like, what are you doing? John, change your opinion. What are you doing? You worried about the legacy of the court? Well, this is kind of backwards from that. All right, on impact, because we can put this back now. On impact, what does this mean? It's not a complete gutting of Section 2. It strikes down racial gerrymandering specifically. It does mean, obviously, Louisiana will have to address this. Obviously, it impacts other states. This is now April 29th. It's a fairly early reading for a landmark case like this, and I think it's probably the best the right could have hoped for. Excuse me. We did have some pretty significant primaries already that would in states that would be impacted, hiccups, by this ruling. Actually, hiccups are the least of my problems. Earlier today, I got ravaged by fire ants and stung by a hornet. I'm surprised I'm not anaphylactic. Not that I was like always allergic to stuff like that, but that's a lot of venom. It's a lot of venom, man. I got like, and the thing almost stung me in the exact spot the ants were all biting me. Well, they got me all over here. So like he stung me on the side. Could be worse. But like North Carolina, for instance, it's too late. The primaries are done. Why did we get the map we got? North Carolina, in order to give Don Davis a chance to survive. It's amazing how surprisingly the census undercounted that area of the state. What a surprise. South Carolina is coming up. South Carolina is very soon. Kentucky is next month, in the middle of the month. It is a lot. And I warn people about this. Even if you got a total gutting of Section 2, it is almost impossible for these states to make their moves now, which is why I'm saying this doesn't have to necessarily be a really bad thing. This couldn't have landed in a better time for Florida and Ron DeSantis, of which I'm going to play a clip in a second. Stand by. But it won't have the significant impact that a lot of people were hoping for. It won't. Will it have a significant one? Yes. Will it have one now? No. And how significant will it be in the somewhat immediate futures? Like, say they can't get it, and they won't get it for 26. When 28 rolls around, or even in between that, of course, what will this ruling do to the map come 28? And here's the kicker. This is why this ruling should be used. Not any BS about how well Donald Trump's doing that nobody believes. I will show you some polling very soon. It is not good. The poll that came out yesterday, I took a swing at them, even though I personally respect and like that guy. I took a swing at them because they know what they did with those questions. I don't have to say it out loud and publicly embarrass them, but I already took the Israel question and dismantled it piece by piece because that was an intentional change to long-held standards and wording and language used, not just the order of words, but language used, the choices that are used for the responses to that question. He knew exactly what he was doing. That generic ballot is clearly an outlier. What I'm saying is this: don't take this bullshit and bury your head up your own ass instead of acknowledging the real situation. And when you do, you may actually be able to turn it into your advantage. Don't lie about how great Donald Trump is doing. Don't try to spin the war like you're winning it. Don't bullshit people. This is your clarion call. If you get crushed in November, this ruling will mean effectively nothing, almost nothing. It will not get you anywhere near where you need to be in order to take back control of the House of Representatives. Not happening. If you get smashed, Republicans, in November, you will almost certainly lose an incredible amount of seats in both the Senate and the House. In a state like North Carolina, you're going to lose the Senate race, it looks like, pretty easily. But you will also lose the state Supreme Court. And if you do, for those who don't and are not familiar with North Carolina, don't live in North Carolina, the last time, circa before 22, Democrats had control, leftists had control of the state Supreme Court. They were so radical. They struck down every Democrat agreed upon map. They struck down statewide referendums on voter ID. If you lose control of that court, it doesn't matter what little Republican majority you may have left in the state legislature, which at this point you may not even have. It won't matter, because diluted Republican majorities of weak Republicans bullied by a stronger Democratic minority will absolutely blunt the impact of this ruling. This is your clarion call. Don't BS people with fake achievements nobody believes. Don't have your stupid little wannabe people pundit shills on X trying to convince people that there are still mass deportations when the country understands and knows that Donald Trump caved for all of his donor friends in hospitality, the restaurant business, et cetera, et cetera. Don't bullshit people. Scare them. Scare them into motivation. Remind them what will happen if Democrats take over. But don't do it the way, and I love you, JD, but don't do it the corny ass way the vice president tried to do it. Tell the truth. Tell them how we'll go back to school systems cutting off your son's penises without your permission. Go back to explaining to them how everybody ends up in jail when Democrats are elected. That you will waste a generational opportunity to redraw the South if you do not win, or at the very least, if you don't minimize the losses that you're headed for right now. Virginia gave us a great example to kick off of. Don't insult the voters' intelligence. Be real with them. An apology could go a long way, but we sure as hell know we're not getting one of those from Donald Trump, because this will all go down the tube. This will effectively all go down the tube if Republicans get beat the way that our polling is showing they are going to get beat right now. It won't matter. I don't know how much more clear I could have explained this before this decision. I thought I did so pretty clear, but I look on social media, turn on the news, look at all this crap, and you will see one nonsense talking point after another. And that includes left-wing outlets who are pretending like this is the end of days or something when they know full well that if Democrats win, it really won't be that bad. As a matter of fact, let's start with that one instead of the right-wing media. I mean, we got a left-wing and right-wing media example. I want to show you how they're reacting to this, okay? Here is CNN. Hat tip to Andrew Colvett, because he is right. I mean, immediately after this ruling came out and this happened, Andrew clipped it. And I mean, I'll read what he wrote on the tweet because, man, he's just dead on. That they just openly say something like this is remarkable. But this is what they believe. And then I made a joke about aliens. Imagine if you were like an alien race and you were watching CNN and you're watching white, self-loathing liberal women hate on themselves the way that they hate on themselves. It's remarkable. But Andrew said, LOL. They really just said this out loud. The challengers are, let me play the clip and then we'll come back. Yeah. All right, let's play the clip first.
This statement, and from Louisiana Secretary of State Nancy Landry saying this about the ruling: my lawyers are currently analyzing the opinion. We are limited in what we can say at this time, as this continues to be active litigation with the case remanded for proceedings back to the Western District. I know that's a lot of legalese, but the bottom line is early voting starts soon in Louisiana, Joan. So what can officials do there in light of this opinion?
Well, they can basically do whatever they want, and that's going to happen in a couple other states too. What they can do is they can push back some dates. First of all, the Supreme Court definitely threw out the map with 2 black majority districts, so we know that cannot be used. That will not be used for sure. So what they'll
that is timeout. Let me just say, as I drink my friggin' thing, that is true. All right, so Louisiana has to act. To be fair, Louisiana has some time to act. I'm not saying there isn't time. Like, if Republicans wanted to do this, if they had balls, if they were like Democrats, this would get done. And it would get done before the midterms. No questions asked. Democrats would move heaven and earth to get it done. But Republicans aren't Democrats. Look at Indiana. Look what happened in Indiana. Look at how Maryland played them. Look at how they betrayed their voters. Not every state is Florida. Louisiana now has to, but some of these other states, South Carolina, when's the primary? You think they're going to get that done in time? Come on. I'll be shocked if they do. I don't expect it. I don't expect, at the very least, what would happen if this ruling was favorable to Democrats like it is to Republicans and the roles were reversed. They would steamroll every map, guys. They would make sure they kept the House. They'd bulldoze everything. They'd bulldoze the entire South. They'd wreck it all. They'd postpone primaries. They would. They would put primaries on hold. Democrats have canceled elections before. They didn't even have an election for the president, for the nominee for president last time in 24. They had a fake one where Joe Biden was just held up, propped up artificially until he literally had an emperor has no clothes moment on stage in front of everybody. And they just said, fuck it, we're moving forward. Kamala Harris, Joe, you're out. They will do whatever. And that's not Republicans. Do I hope I'm pleasantly surprised? Sure. But all the evidence suggests I'm right. All the phone calls I've had with donors who don't want to postpone primaries and are telling they're telling leaders and governors, I don't want to because I've already spent money, X number of dollars in this media market through that PAC, and I don't want to have to spend more money because to delay the primary means they would have to spend. It's unreal. Democrats, their donors, their voters, their lawmakers, they'd all be on the same page. And again, they would bulldoze everything. They'd move heaven and earth to make it happen. Their donors wouldn't even bitch and moan like that. Their donors would simply say, how much more do you need me to give? Republican donors only say that when it's for Israel. All right, back up.
probably do, once they read the opinion, carefully, as was just suggested there, probably draw a map that provides only one black majority district. But as you know, Pam, like Florida's in the middle of redistricting efforts now too. Other places
We're going there next.
And so I really anticipate that other states will do it. But if they don't do it for 2026, they'll get it in place for 2028. And then when we get to 2030 with the next round of a census and redistricting, it really will change all the ground rules for what states consider, because basically what the court did today was to say, if you're going to try to challenge vote dilution, and vote dilution is real.
Okay, stop it. All right. Bottom line is, CNN is doing what I'm telling Republicans you need to do right now. She knows full well if Democrats win in November, 28 won't matter. Her nightmare scenario is not coming true. She knows that. She's scaring CNN voters so they get juice, so they go to vote, so they make sure that they have improbable victories and improbable numbers in state legislatures all over the country. Because, folks, I'm telling you, right now, Republicans are going to lose ground in state legislatures like you have never seen in your lifetime. That is what we're headed for right now if something doesn't change. She knows it. She's just trying to keep Democrats scared and on their heels. She wants them fired up and ready to come out to vote. She wants white liberals feeling guilty as shit about what just happened to the poor black urban Southern voter. She wants them enraged. She knows full well, doesn't matter. And by 2030, if Republicans lose the presidency, who gives a shit about the next census? They're going to create the map that they need to create. Do you have any idea what the odds are that somehow these government workers in the census undercounted Republican areas and Republican areas only? That there were no mistakes in blue areas? You have any idea what the odds of that are? She knows what they have going for them. What they don't want you to know is that they don't want Republicans to understand that if they lose this midterm badly, if they lose control of the White House in 28, it's all down the drain. Why? Because there really is a danger for them here. And that's true even if Republicans continue to be the frauds that they are. If you keep this ruling and you maximize the political power, the relative political power shift that you can achieve from this ruling, you go into 28, you don't blow the presidency, you're in charge with plenty of time to meet the Supreme Court requirement to insert the citizenship question into the 2030 census. Pardon my language, cover your kids' ears at home. Democrats are fucked for decades. They can't win without counting illegals and without exploiting black people. They cannot win. They will be locked out of the U.S. House of Representatives for at least 20 years, and it will be extremely difficult for a Democrat to win the Electoral College. This is what they're terrified of. So I'm telling you, put down the fake talking points about how well you're doing when everyone can't stand you and everyone thinks you betrayed them, rightfully so. They hate the war. They think Trump is a total bait and switcher. Drop the fake talking points and grab something real. This is your chance to actually win something, not fake winning that Truth Social posts tell you about every morning. Real wins, real victories, real shifts in the Overton window, dramatic change in representation and how this country elects it. You do that and you do everything I just said and pass the SAVE Act, and you may actually save your country. You do anything short of it and you have lost. And she knows it. And that's why she's giving this doomsday scenario. She knows at this rate, at this time, has very little probability of actually coming true.
Lower court judges have found it to be real. Lower court judges who have been appointed by Republican presidents have found it to be a real problem, particularly in the South, but other places too. And what's going to happen is just identifying vote dilution will not be enough to get a map changed. They're going to, the challengers are going to have to say that there are no race-neutral reasons for this, and that's awfully hard, especially because of the partisan alignment between whites generally voting Republican and blacks generally being affiliated with the Democratic Party, Pam.
Did you hear what she just said? Did you really listen to what she just said? It's unbelievable. Andrew's right. They really said it out loud. Let me read back what she just said. The challengers are going to have to say, meaning the Democrats, that there are no race-neutral reasons for this. Oh my God. Guys, if you would have rewind the clock 6-8 months ago, you would never have heard a CNN commenter admit that, because they knew that that was the crux of the argument. She goes on, and that's awfully hard, especially because of the partisan alignment between whites generally voting Republican and blacks generally being affiliated with the Democratic Party. I'm just going to read what Andrew said because he nailed it. And there you have it, folks. There you have it. Wonder why your communities have been overrun with a massive, unending, unfettered wave of legal and illegal immigrants? Because Democrats figured out a long time ago that they can't win the votes of white Americans. That's the whole racket. Accidentally admitted on live television in a moment of panic after SCOTUS gutted Section 2 of the VRA. Again, they didn't totally gut the VRA. I do understand why some people are saying that, but they didn't totally gut Section 2. However, it's bad. I mean, they dealt with the question of racial gerrymandering at its core. This can no longer be done. So all of my arguments with Sean Trendy, like, we could just retroactively go back. I won, Sean, you lose. I won, you lose, bro. And this dude was on a commission for Virginia. I win, you lose. Not only can you not just exclusively draw districts based on race like Democrats have done, you cannot ignore all of the other considerations outside of population that founders have written about in detail. Geography, culture. There's a reason why early American congressional districts, if you go through the primary sources, you'll see they're using geographic boundaries, like this mountain range, this river, this side of the Ohio River, that side of the Ohio River, this area in Shenandoah, this part of the Chesapeake, because there was culture maintained, contained within that geography. The Smoky Mountains. My God. You can't cut a friggin' district taking huge chunks of urban areas like Albuquerque, which is another thing eventually we'll have to deal with. You cannot use that and carve all the way into rural Republican New Mexico to make a racial minority district with this like slice of a white vote that you're diluting intentionally, and then you're going to take another part of Albuquerque and do the same thing around the other side of white rural America to dilute that down to like 10-15%. You can't do that shit. Those are different cultures, different representations, and you're doing it for race. Why? Because we have to have a black majority district. We have to have a Hispanic majority district. Race was never supposed to be the sole determinant factor in how you draw districts. Never. And all of these new commissions, think about this, guys, what they just said in this ruling, all of these independent commissions that Democrats are so favored, they all did this. We were, I don't know if he's watching right now. I remember when David was running for Congress in 22, and we were constantly following the iterations of the California map, trying to figure out what was going to happen in the Central Valley. It was amazing to us how they were carving up parts of Los Angeles just to get majority-minority districts, particularly one minority, of course. And yet in the Central Valley, they wanted to dice up the Hispanic areas in parts like Merced and Madera, especially, but definitely Merced too. And not so much Stanislaus. Eventually that got wrapped in the same thing, but Fresno. And what did these Hispanic voters do wrong to be treated differently and to be carved around the way that they did? Well, they were shifting to the right. So only in these urban centers did they want to do that. And again, it's just crap. As this ruling was coming out, they were discussing the map that was released by Ron DeSantis in Florida, which should make it through the Senate tonight, I believe. There's two things about this map. There's one district, which is even what they did in Florida. And understand, Florida is more Republican, I would argue, or old school Trumpian, but it's certainly more R plus in registrations. And while Virginia doesn't have registrations, we do have inference modeling we can do. And really, Virginia's hasn't been more than like D+5 or D+6, right? Even at its strongest. I mean, I maybe they got to D+8, but still, Florida was more R plus, is now more R plus than Virginia is D plus. I think we can all say that, you know, with I know it's a bad cycle, but it will maintain that at least resistance to the national swing, even if Republicans do poorly in it, which I do think they are going to, as of right now. But yet Republicans were more delicate with what they did in Florida than Democrats were in Virginia. Why? Because at least there's an opportunity for Democrats in a good year in the somewhat short term. There's a chance for Democrats to flip one, definitely, if not two districts. In Virginia, there is no such chance for Republicans for a very long time. And I'm talking about the Tampa Bay district, by the way. We can bring it up and we can look at it, but I'm talking about the district that's in the Tampa Bay area, and then, of course, the Orlando district, which is be sometime later. The Tampa district could be flippable pretty soon. In a year that's bad for Republicans, that district is not exactly ruby red. And by the way, there are certain areas where in a swingy mood like this, it could actually get bluer quicker than we think. Now, Orlando, they did play a little bit more game with it, you know, but hey, you know, live by the sword, die by the sword, bitches. What can I tell you? But Florida, those two districts are easier to flip than any of the two that we could pluck out of Virginia for Republicans to flip. Anyway, as this debate is going on in Florida, this Supreme Court decision comes down. And I'm going to play her again because she's had some really good takes lately. But Caroline Wren is on with Bannon talking about this as it comes down. You got to give kudos to DeSantis. He's kind of like hung his hat on this. He is a lawyer, but I mean, everyone expected the Supreme Court to at least rule somewhat favorably for Republicans. So DeSantis gambled that they would. And he's coming out smelling like roses right now because the argument that they're making against DeSantis is that this isn't fair. You don't have any predominantly majority Black or Hispanic districts, and you're carving stuff up to be too racially diverse. And it's exactly the opposite of the argument that you're legally allowed to make now. So if you're DeSantis, you're like, ha 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 ha, perfect. And apparently, as they were talking about this and debating this court ruling came down. All right, let's play this.
Florida House just passed the
House.
state's new congressional map. And so it is now being debated in the Senate. It is expected to pass the Senate this afternoon, and then it will go over to DeSantis's desk either tonight or tomorrow morning. I was in the chamber watching the debate in the House chamber, and it was pretty interesting. There was a Democrat legislator who was saying how this map is illegal because of the Voting Rights Act, as I get an alert on my phone that the Supreme Court had just ruled on VRA. And so it was pretty kind of neat to be in there for history and just see that their arguments were falling apart. And credit to Ron DeSantis, who predicted this. He mapped out this timing around releasing the map and around this VRA decision coming out. And so we got to give DeSantis some credit for getting this done.
Yeah, credit where credit's due. Not only that, not only getting it done and going forward with it, but you have Democrats. I mean, just don't understand what she's paused for a second there and understand what she's saying. As this news is broke, Democrats are on the floor of the Florida House of Representatives, the lower chamber, making the argument that the left made before the Supreme Court for this case. And live, this argument goes down. Because this is the argument Democrats have. That's the only argument they have ever had. And do you remember, and oh my God, his name is escaping me now. He's like a brilliant guy too, but the bigotry of low expectations. Come on, guys. Who is that? I don't want to look. I don't want to cheat. I will cheat, but I'm going to try to remember this here. Daniel Patrick Moynihan, right? Daniel Patrick Moynihan. I believe so. The bigotry of low expectations. That is the Democratic argument. They hope that black people and guilty, stupid, white, liberal, gentrified people have such a bigotry and which breeds those low expectations, that they hope black people don't understand what really is going on. Because it's not to champion your voice, as the Supreme Court said. It's not to champion your right to have an equal say like everybody else about who represents you in Congress or who represents you in federal office. It's not that at all. At all. It's much more sinister than that. It's that they need you. They count on you. They take it for granted. If you are a black urban voter, that you are a slave to their party. And no matter what swings they're going to see, no matter what swing that state overall may see at federal level for Senate, for the governorship, for the presidency, whatever, state level offices, no matter what, they can always count on you to be stupid and on the progressive plantation. They can always count on you to do that and dilute a little bit of that white vote. It's not because they want blacks to have an equal chance or any non-white voter. They don't trust white people not to swing against them. They don't like white people. White liberals hate themselves. Like anyone who's ever lived in these environments, they know that. I always say the white liberal is the most racist because they had that bigotry of low expectations, but then they also have this bigotry against themselves, this self-loathing bigotry. It's weird. It's like there's nobody that they don't hold some form of bigotry to. It's very odd. And I actually quote tweeted Andrew's clip about this because to me, it's just like what he put up, because it really is insane. If you imagine it for a second, and for those of you who didn't see my tweet, maybe I should get it and put it up, but imagine for a second you are like an alien race and you're observing us and you're looking at CNN and you watch that clip and you're just observing the white liberal. What the hell do you say to yourself? Like, is this a race that's defective? Do they want to go extinct? Why do they hate their own species? Like this is just, or in that case, race. Like what's wrong with them? They're defective. I mean, I can understand how you could dupe a kid with like no experience or a young person with no experience. How you can dupe them into this crap that they sell. And Barack Obama helped them sell all year and all last year. Because California, of course, was the beginning of all of this. When anyone with a thinking brain can look at these maps and look at the simple numbers and realize that that is not what they're doing. And I think California blew it wide open and should have. If Republicans were able to message better, if Republicans were competent and didn't stick their foot in their own ass every day over and over again, California was a perfect example. Because there, the ones who were disenfranchised the most are the very ones that Democrats claimed they were looking out for. It's an exploitation. It's not the champion of a people, a community, an underprivileged race or class or whatever. They don't want you to talk in terms of class. Has to be race. It's not that. It's the exploitation of them. There's a difference. All right. Now, into the bad news for Republicans. I mean, that is the good news. There's no doubt. That is good news. And they can make it really good news if they don't blow this opportunity. I mean, I cannot stress this enough. You can't do it while bullshitting people. You have got to drop the BS. You're living in your own world. The rest of the country is not living in. I'm going to show you some of the numbers, and it is not good. And you're not going to convince these people that they're wrong. You know what I mean? You're not going to convince them that somehow they're wrong, you're right, and they just have to see it your way. That's what Democrats wanted to do in the era of Joe Biden. That's what they wanted to do. All right, let me get the overall. It's getting new responses. Let me get the overall out. I'm going to do something against my better judgment. I just wanted to show you guys something because we had a poll yesterday that was released, and it's an outlier. It's clearly an outlier, and yet people. It's easier to believe the BS. It's easier to take comfort in something, even if something is false, right? Every 20 polls, guys, we would expect an outlier. I'm not sure that's what we saw yesterday. I think I'm being generous in calling it an outlier. It can happen to anyone. Do we have some days when the generic ballot rapidly tightens and we're kind of like crooked eye, like a little bit like, yeah, sure. There can be noise in the data sometimes. Is that something I would expect somebody seeing in this period over a 2-day period, a 3-day period, a 4-day period? No. And in fact, we can take a look at that poll and we can actually see how long it was that they fielded for. Hold on. Let me find it. All right. Yeah, you're even going to have the Reuters Ipsos poll. It's only Democrat +4 compared to the Emerson, which is Democrat +10. We're going to be somewhere in between that. I'm just telling you right now, and I will show you before the weighting is done, but you will see it for yourself. But let me look and see when they fielded. Yeah, I mean, that poll fielded 3 days, the 23rd through the 26th. Locals, you know this because I've showed you this now openly for days. That's horseshit. There's no chance. I'm sorry, there's just no chance. Locals voted yesterday and, wanted me to keep going. The option was, do we keep going or do we stop now? And do we just put out the poll as it is now? They voted to keep going. It actually got worse for Republicans. It did. Now, it's only 1 day, so that will roll into a 3-day average, but it did get worse. So for people who weren't on the stream yesterday, you could be, if you were a YouTube member or you were a Locals supporter, you saw it. It continued like that for the rest of the night. So that will be brought in to when, I said, when the weighting's done, I wouldn't be surprised if Trump is at like 40%. That's probably where we're going to be. Don't twist my arm about it. There is some weights, of course, that need to be implemented for this. There's overrepresented Republican groups. So not by a lot, but enough to shift when weighting happens, to shift a little bit here and there. The Emerson poll came out. It is Trump approval is 40, disapproval is 56. I got to be honest. I think that's probably going to be where we end up. I mean, that's right about where we are right now. For those of you who can't see, it's like 41-55. Is it going to dip it down a little bit? Yeah, it is. It's going to. So I wouldn't be shocked if it was like 40-56. Undecided ticked up a little bit. That's not good because that came out of if you go to the tracking poll on Big Data Poll, you'll see, if you go to the Trump approval trend, you'll see that it looks like it came from Trump's somewhat approval. That's where it came out of, because the somewhat approval was 20% last time. It's now about 18.8. So some of it must have come from somewhat approved, somewhat disapproved, 12.3. Last month, it was 12.9. So maybe strong disapproval, 42.8. It's going to be probably that too. Maybe 43.1 or something like that, but it will be very close. The strong disapproval number is getting scary. And Republicans, again, they want to pretend I don't wish problems away. That's never happened. That's never happened to be the effective move in life. For anything, you have a problem, like wishing it away and sticking your head in the sand does not actually help it. It usually makes it worse. The same is true of politics. Pretending you don't have a problem is just stupid. It's just dumb. There's a difference between raising the white flag and saying, shit, it's over, we're doomed. There's a difference between that and then honestly just being truthful and saying, you know what? We understand we disappointed you with this. Barack Obama was actually very good at it. Barack Obama used to do that a lot. He'd say, look, I know we haven't made as much progress as you want to make, but stick with me. We're on it. I care. I'm trying. We'll do better. That's not what Republicans are doing. It's sure as hell not what Trump is doing. Trump is like, you got a problem? Screw you. I don't want your support anymore. What are you talking about? There's no talent in America. We need H-1B visas. You don't like Israel. You're not MAGA. Make Iran great again. Like, I mean, this is stupid. This is stupidity. He never talked to his voters like this. Yet here we are. Issues don't look good. Look, you can see it's not good. The situation in Iran, the approval thing, it's like support is up. It's like 30%, guys. It's like 32%. Disapproval is like 62%. It's bad. The Iran war is unpopular. Democrats are ahead right off the rip by 7. This is a huge net. Obviously, we'll wind up applying screens and whatnot. I do believe after we did some light screening, it did take it down to like D+6. But once you add the likely voter modeling and stuff like that, it goes up. So I'm not, don't hold me to it, but obviously Democrats are going to have a healthy lead. Democrats are winning the lead now due to yesterday. It was actually pretty close. They were winning it, but they weren't winning it by 5-6 points. The way that they're winning it now, they're pretty handily winning it. Most of these someone else third party people, I guarantee you, will end up not being likely voters anyway. So, but you can still see the overall trend. All right. 3/4 plus of the country will say that it is important to keep the U.S. out of foreign wars and military conflicts. Democrats are trusted way more to do that, as you can see. Where is the issue thing, though? That's really where I want to get to. There it is. Okay. Here's the overall ranking, and this is registered, not likely, so bear with me. We'll get you to likely in a second. Cost of living inflation is number 1. Oh, by the way, there will be, we'll talk about this poll on Matt Gaetz tonight, 6 o'clock. I'll give you exact time soon, but I'll be on Matt Gaetz' show later tonight to talk about this, to talk about whatever else he wants to talk about. Cost of living inflation is rank 1. The economy and jobs is rank 2. Healthcare, Obamacare, rank 3. Crime and safety, rank 4. Immigration, border security, rank 5. Foreign policy, national security, rank 6. That's interesting why that is. It went from 7 to 6. I'm going to tell you in a second. Corruption and accountability, rank 7. All right. When you swap to independents, you'll actually see immigration and foreign policy completely collapse. Foreign policy is in rank 6 because Republicans alone increased their priority of foreign policy. Democrats and independents have not. Independents obviously matter a lot more. Of course, you don't want to turn away any crossover Democratic votes, but if you're a Republican, but independents, it's like, who are they looking more like? When we go through this by party, they look more like Democrats. They prioritize corruption and accountability more than Democrats do, and they prioritize healthcare more than Republicans do. Not quite as much as Democrats, but more than Republicans. See, Democrats are saying, look, it's the cost of living inflation, then it's healthcare, then it's the economy and jobs, then I think they say it's corruption and accountability, right? Independents say it's cost of living inflation, it's the economy and jobs, it's corruption and accountability, then it's healthcare, crime and safety, immigration and border security, then foreign policy. So the problem Republicans are having right now is that they are disconnected from independents. Independents are aligned, not totally perfectly, but more with Democrats on what they care about, what they want to vote about, what they're voting, what is motivating their vote preference, and what they prioritize. They're super pissed at this administration for starting a war and just completely focusing on the foreign policy. They're pissed. So pissed, in fact, Republicans have lost their lead on every single top issue except for one. And even that one is not it's not significant. Cost of living and inflation is D+7. Which party do you trust more to handle each of the following issues? The economy and jobs, D+6. Republicans started last week with a small lead for 2-3 days in a row to 1 point, And then by the end of the week, by Thursday, Friday night, locals, you know this because I saw it happen that day. And I was like, oh God, here it goes. It turned into like R+1, and then it was gone. And now Democrats actually lead on the economy and jobs. Healthcare is a freaking blowout. Of course, it's like D+15. Immigration, border security is only R+5. Accountability and corruption 5. Foreign policy and national security is tied with a tiny, slight 12 interview advantage for Democrats. Yes, you heard me correctly. Democrats actually lead slightly. It'll round to the same number. But when you look at the specific, tens of percentage points here, Democrats actually have a marginal, statistically insignificant lead. So Republicans lead on immigration and border security. Unfortunately for them, that is rank 5. There is some evidence all the way up to 7 does impact the vote, but really what it comes down to is that top 3 and then where independents differ from everybody else and who are they aligning with. And they are aligning clearly with Republicans. With Democrats, excuse me. That's the problem. They're not. And by the way, in 16, they aligned with Republicans. In 18, they aligned with Democrats, mostly over healthcare. In 2020, they did, in fact, align with Democrats, even though Trump, I think he got robbed in 2020. COVID was a wrench in the spokes, and it screwed everything up. 2022, they actually did align with Republicans. Republicans were able to take the House. They underperformed in the Senate, but nevertheless, it was kind of like a split decision. And in 24, they clearly aligned with Republicans. Now they're clearly in alignment with Democrats. And Republicans have got to change this. And to change it, bullshitting is not the way to change it. Bullshitting is not the way to change it. I don't know how much waiting will impact this. Probably not that much. When you see this kind of agreement on something, small weight adjustments tend not to move the needle all that much. The high for this is the White House Focus Tracker. The high for this is, of course, I believe it's like 62% in the benchmark polling. We have had it higher in private non-benchmark, but let me just make sure I'm right about that. I want to say 62%. Yes, 62%. So this month it came in, really close, 60.6. And with 25% who say the focus has been just about right, only 14% who say they're focused too much on domestic, not enough on foreign. Who are these people? One day we need to analyze these people. I just don't have the time to do it all, but I guarantee you that there's Mark Levin in here. Or Mark Levin would say the focus has been just about right, which is where I want to end this with your questions today, because what they have done, the damage that neocons have done to Republicans and their brand, just cut them loose. Cut them loose. Cut them loose now. If Republicans were smart, they would cut neocons loose now in an election where they're expected to lose anyway. Let's be real. Cut them loose now so you can trade them for all of the people. Well, not all of them. That's not fair thing. That's not a fair thing to promise. You could at least trade them for the opportunity to cobble back together it's not just a winning coalition, guys. It's the future winning coalition. That's what people don't understand. That's what people are not understanding. And by the way, you would if you were to read Burn It Down, which, of course, will be out before the midterm. Oh, we don't actually have the thing for Burn It Down in the thing. You're right. My fault. I don't know. I keep forgetting to put it in the descriptions. I'll go back and change it, though. Okay. We'll put it in there. But yes, you should go to Amazon and pre-order Burn It Down, because it explains how quickly these demographic changes in the electorate are going to transpire. First of all, they're going to happen sooner than people clearly understand. And secondly, that once that trend starts, once these changes, this transformation of the electorate begins, it will happen rapidly. And if Republicans don't understand this, if they don't, get the ground beneath their feet soon, that is going to shift beneath their feet like a tectonic plate, and they're going to end up on their ass and done. Trade the neocons who just made you the party of censorship by an overwhelming margin. Trade those loser, scumbag, dinosaur, fucking coalition parasites. Trade them now. Get rid of them now before it's too late. And they, like parasites, the good little parasites do, they fucking drain you of everything until you're dead. That is not hyperbole. You're going to die as a national party if you don't get rid of these fucking neocons. 61%. These are the responses. They're horrible. We'll go over some of them. And as you can see, Republicans are a shit share of the electorate. However, when you do likely voters, Republicans do increase as a share of the electorate. Let's just go with certain first. I'm curious because I didn't look to see what they increased to. 38.5, 40.1. See, certainty to vote brings the partisan share up. So it looks like Republicans rise about 5 points as a share of the electorate, where Democrats only rise about 2. So they get closer. However, you'll notice, because unfortunately they're losing independents by such a horribly large margin, that they'll wind up lose. The lead is, it doesn't change. Okay. So look, if the election for the U.S. House of Representatives was held today, it's Democrat 49, Republican 41. So that's a D+8 with 6.7% undecided. Notice how small someone else third party. Notice how much that falls. We're going to start to implement a much stricter voting model. We're not going to give people self-reported likelihood to vote, guys, alone. I've said this over and over again. I'm going to keep repeating it. It is not reliable alone as a likely voter model. So I'm not giving away what is in all total detail here. But our result will probably be very similar to that. It will probably be somewhere in the neighborhood of Democrat 49 or 50, Republicans 40 or 41. It will, because it's time to look, it's a midterm. And depending on modes, some modes are great for presidential cycles because you're reaching a lot more people. They're not just the highest interest voter. You're getting you're casting a much bigger net, and you're bringing in a whole lot more fish. But it's a midterm. And we're at the end of April now. Now would be the time to start tightening the voter models so you can get an idea of who's going to come out, because the old Labor Day trick does not work anymore in the era of information. All right, so I mean, that's certainty to vote. And then do Democrats hold their lean lead? They do. It's not that much. It's 5 points, but they do. Look at how many more. Look at how many of the someone else third party still actually wins that lean, but look at how many of them fell. I mean, it's like half, because it's just cutting the mode down, you know? Yeah, this is not good. So Democrats are up 13 points in this group of the electorate when it comes to who do you trust more to keep the U.S. out of foreign wars and military conflicts. That question is predictive without fail. I'm telling you. Let's make it a little bit lighter here for a second, and let's just add a less likely voting category and see what happens. So Democrats fall to 46, larger number of undecided, of course, larger third person, but it's still D+8. It doesn't change all that much. Democrats still win the leans. They win it by 29 to 24. It's still 5 points. Yeah. Oh, wait. The point was to see. Well, let me look at this one first. We did look at the other one. Where's the partisanship? Democrats are socialists, by the way. Democrats are socialists. Look at the number of independents who say they used to be MAGA. That's bad. It's really bad. It's a lot of people. You may look, 15% is not that much. That's a lot of people. It's a lot of people, man. Not good. Where's party? I must have skipped past it. Okay. Yeah, so even with this wider electorate, which I don't think we're going to get here, we'll be somewhere in between. It won't be like the other one. It won't be like this. It'll be somewhere in between. But, certain things always do that. What did Republicans move from initially 33 to like 38, right? And then this brings them down to 37. This is why I want to do the registered voter, by the way, and then the likely voter separate. because some people are just having a difficult time reading the crosstabs. And locals, we went over this yesterday. The way that market site changed, it's not so easy to do it the way we used to do it anymore. Effectively not allowing me to say, okay, listen, I'm identifying these voters who meet this criteria, right? This query criteria. You know, if they are this and they're this or this or and this, and right, it's a search query. It doesn't allow you to do that simply anymore. So you're saying, okay, this is the registered voter variable and it's everybody. And you're just looking at, you know, the demographics we wait for. What? Sex, age, race, education, although we don't always have to do it. We're usually pretty good. Really geography and area kind of, right? Geotags and region, division, things like that. That would be the registered voter and that would be it. And then we would create, and we did last time. You can see it in the release we put out last month. There'll be like a cross, and then on that legend, it'll say this indicates a different weight variable, likely voter variable. And then you'll notice that the sample size changes. That's great, because then that is saying, I just want, out of all those registered voters, I just want people who meet these parameters. And that's what is ideal. But unfortunately, that's not working out. So I'm going to have to, it's just not working anymore the way it used to. And what they really want to do is make it like a weight variable where you could say, okay, well, of these groups, what share of the sample do you want to make this? And that, man, that's weighting and that's making assumptions. I'm not doing that. So I can do it on the back end in here. So I'll put out the registered voter. We'll do direction of country with it and the registered voter economic confidence index, the president's approval rating. But when it comes to the generic ballot, we're now firmly into the likely voter category. And if I can't put one above the other, then I'm not doing it. So I'll make a separate crosstab for likely voters. That's what I'm going to wind up doing. I'm telling you right now. Let's get rid of some of that stuff. There is no test status, so don't worry about that being in there. And let's go up and let's just quickly look at some of that basic stuff. Certainty to vote. It's creeping higher, 68.3%. That's healthy for a midterm. We'll see how it goes. Extremely likely or extremely enthusiastic is only 43.5%. If we do a segment comparison, you will see that Democrats have a where are you? Democrats have a turnout advantage going on, a pretty healthy one. They're just, Republicans did get a little bit more juice recently, but we're still not seeing comparable levels. All right. So among those who are certain to vote, Democrats 40.1, Republicans 38.5, likely to vote. Republicans are about a point higher, but it's extremely is the way to go there. I mean, certainty and extremely are the two ones we care about the most. Here's where Democrats really shine. Extremely enthusiastic to vote. Democrats are 45, Republicans are 37. We've seen worse, but that's still not good. Democrats start to hit 60. That's when your hair should go on fire if you're a Republican. That's what happened to Hillary Clinton against Donald Trump. He hit 60. And it's like, what? 60% of his voters are extremely enthusiastic. That can't be real. Well, alas, it was, and had a huge impact. Okay, where are we? Right track, wrong track, 58 to 33. Oh, by the way, locals, that did continue. I just saw the recalled vote right there. About a point and a half of Donald Trump's support is lying and saying, I prefer not to say. And we did this little thing, which we shared with locals, which was cool. When it was a small group of people, we called them back and we were able to confirm that 15 of the 17 did in fact vote for Donald Trump with a little bit more nudging. And so that is interesting, but that should be interesting to you too. But it's interesting to us because we remember when this happened to Joe Biden. Is it as bad as Joe Biden? No, but it's getting there. It's getting a point and a half. It's not quite 4 yet or 5. We used to see that kind of number with Joe Biden. After a while, it was a lot, but it's not good. You don't want really any of your voters lying and saying they prefer not to say. That's buyer's remorse or voter's remorse in that case, of course. That's what that indicates. Meanwhile, Kamala Harris's vote margin is down pretty much right. And that we had people lying about her in the first year. They were lying about voting for her. And Trump's recalled vote would come back too much. It would come back like 50.4 to like 44.5. Like, wait, where's the rest of Kamala's vote? In the prefer not to say, or part of someone else. Of course, we know it's not true. Right track, wrong track, 58-33. Last month, it was something like that. Close. We'll do the registered voter economic confidence index. Here are the sub indicators. Look, it's not going to be great. I don't know what to say. Is it going to be bad like it was during Joe Biden in like part of May of 22 or something? No, but it will be down and it will be negative, which indicates recession or potential recession, or at least sentiment that we are in a recession. That's what it really comes down to. No confidence we will be out of one. But it is what it is. Let's hit up some of these questions here. Today's win, fresh bread in the bread machine. I had a 3-year-old yeast and used Gemini's suggestions to ensure I got a good rise from it. Nice. What's today's win for me? On the way back from the meeting I had at my son's school, I had free drinks for Craze Nutrition. So instead of buying my protein shake and my wife's protein shake, I got freebies. That was mine. I got this is a monthly special. Or no, this one was Oreo pudding or something. I can't remember. The monthly special was something else. My God, was it carrot cake? It was good. Yeah, this is why I say, Tim, they got to get that citizenship question on, man. They got to get that citizenship question on. I mean, they have to. Birthright citizenship's not going to, the right's not getting that. I don't think so either. I really don't. Wait a minute. Let me have this one. This is my creatine. I forgot. I'm sorry, like 3 things. I got this tea thing. I got the protein shake, and I got this creatine muscle healing thing. Feeling better, by the way. The old arm's feeling better. You notice I don't have a brace on? As it turns out, some like older gentleman was like, hey, I've been seeing you at the gym for a while. I think I can like give you, I think you're hurting yourself. And I think he was right, because I'm feeling better. I was just continuously making it worse. I think so anyway. Don't get me wrong. I definitely hurt myself at one point, but I think I just was preventing it from healing from bad form. And I know that's crazy, but it was just like a couple exercises with bad form, and you're just like re-hurting yourself, restraining yourself. But yeah, Tim, I would not expect it. I don't think Republicans are going to win on that. That would be a pleasant surprise for them, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think instead what you're most likely to see is, them fart out on that. The question is, do they have the balls? Do they have the balls to do what they need to do here so they can capitalize on this decision today? And I don't know that they do. I just don't know. We'll see. Yeah, again, you know what? I do just want to leave this up. I really do. I want to leave this up so people can see. I mean, it's just total bullshit. Some of the stuff I'm seeing out, this fucking propaganda from these right-wing pollsters, man. They're no better than the left-wing pollsters. They're lying to you, okay? They're lying to you. Many of them just started cashing their checks, so watch out. Mark Mitchell Ransom Fund calling out the GOP for abandoning the Amish to ongoing lawfare. If the Amish aren't allowed to live free of government mandates, are any of us free? Well, I think that's a really, really good point. Time to screenshot to send over everyone's happy daily. Everyone gets a laugh at this. Everybody loves this. You got Barnes out there fighting the good fight, Rocket Boy. There's usually an exaggeration of Amish voting, right? There's no doubt they came out in droves in 24 for Donald Trump. And the Maha thing, the Maha connection was the added boost. Are the Amish obviously conservative? And when you can get them out, they're going to vote very, very largely Republican? Yes. Are there some that vote Democrat? Sure. But the Maha thing really pushed it over, where not only did it consolidate the Republican vote more in the Amish community, not only did it get more of them out, but it I mean, I think actually I just said that kind of back, but it got more of them out that otherwise would not turn out because their personal issues were not really being addressed. Maha did address their personal issues, or at least give hope that an administration would address their personal issues. And what did Pam Bondi, what did pay for play Pam Blondie do with her time? Did she pay back the Amish for their support? Did she help Amos Miller? Nope. No, sir. Did they drop those cases, those relevant cases? Nope. Did they drop any of those cases with Pfizer? Nope. What about Brooks? Nope. Was RFK allowed to tackle these issues? Nope. So why would you expect them to come out now? I think a ton of them, if they do come out, are going to wind up voting for Shapiro and Democrats at this point. You think I'm kidding? I'm not kidding. All right, moving on. Republicans won't pull defeat from the jaws of victory. Hello, gorgeous.
I'm in my workout there, dude.
And it is magical. Where's the boy?
He's upstairs. I'm just
One second.
Just letting you know, I drafted an email.
Okay, let me read it later, okay?
And whatchamacallit? Stop tickling me.
Don't look away. Don't look away.
I drafted an email, and I think it's really.
It's a good one. I didn't bring everything up with them yet. I'll tell locals later.
Yeah.
You know, but I didn't bring anything up yet. Just let me.
Well, you read real fast. Can you?
No. Wait. Have you seen the return email from that gentleman? Okay, got to keep an eye out for that. Big time.
Did.
Okay. All right. So where is he? Up.
Yeah, he's upstairs.
He went up?
He's gonna get the little one because I have to stop.
Is he all right? Not really.
He's great.
Yeah. You have to stop where?
At Walmart, because instead of me making a delivery, I did a pickup like an idiot.
Oh no.
It's only through the drive-thru. I don't have to park it.
When are you gonna go?
I'm gonna go now, so then I could go from there to
B?
yeah, and the girls.
Oh, today's our day for the girls.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
With our busted car.
Oh, it's not that. There's a big
Everybody
scratch.
doesn't know. Only locals knows.
There's a big scratch, but it.
I need you to
I
get.
didn't do
Listen, I need you to get a hold of this girl. She said she texted you. They're having this like rally, this America First, America Only rally or something, and they asked if I would come and speak in it. It's in Ohio. Obviously, they're going to have to deal with that, you know. But like, she keeps asking, and I don't know what to tell her.
I'm worried about Ohio.
Oh, you're worried about Ohio?
I'm joking.
Oh, that's funny. She's joking, obviously, but locals knows this too. Not everybody does.
No, this is locals only.
I don't know. Some
Locals only.
Oh, locals only. Okay, all right. It's a joke, inside joke. Locals. She's talking about the girl we polled yesterday.
And
Inside joke.
If you want to know the joke, you could sign up at peoplespundit.locals.com and subscribe.
What?
To
Totally. If you want to know the tea, if you want to know what one voter told the People's Pundit in an interview while polling, you gotta subscribe to get the tea. Good job, baby. Good job, booyah. Number love for you.
Well, I mean, some things should be just subscribers only.
Listen to this comment, though, real quick about the Voting Rights Act ruling. Republicans won't pull defeat from the jaws of victory. The jaws of victory don't exist. From the jaws of defeat, they'll pull an even bigger defeat.
The only jaws they have are dentures.
Oh my God! They're gonna pull in the jaw the dentures of defeat. The hell out of here! And just 2 years ago, we were making fun of Democrats for geriatric Joe, and now here we are, the party of boomers who YouGov says by like a 20-point margin, voters say are a bigger threat, thanks to Mark Levin and all the Israel First people, and censoring everybody who dares to criticize Israel, giving 5 years in prison to every Floridian who may speak out against the state of Israel. This is unbelievable. Of course it is. And then he signs the bill at the Wailing Wall. Like, you're humiliating us, Ron. And now look, we were just 2 years ago, Democrats were throwing people in prison. They were kicking fathers out of school board meetings. They were dragging out dads from school board meetings. They were locking everybody up and deplatforming everybody. And now somehow the Republican Party by like 20 points is the bigger threat to free speech. Good job, Mark Levin. Good job, Ben Shapiro. Good job, everyone else who bends over for Benjamin Netanyahu. Good job. You should be proud of me. I pulled it back.
No, but you didn't pull out one where
I just went.
You should cover your kids' ears.
Oh, you heard that?
Yeah, I heard that. I screamed at you. You didn't hear me.
I didn't hear you.
Lucky.
Whoop, whoop. So true, though. Why don't you go cry to Barry Weiss about it, Mark? Maybe she'll fire someone else for you. She'll fire another 30-year veteran of CBS News for you and Benjamin Netanyahu.
Or she'll just send Laura Loomer.
What a coward, though. Listen, don't you? Oh, shit. What a coward, though. If you think about it, it's cowardly because he's over there calling everybody Nazis that he doesn't agree with. Like, they're his competitors. And more than that, they're his betters. They're his intellectual and entertainment betters. And they're doing better than him. Like, his show is nothing. Nobody watches his show. Ben Shapiro is bleeding subscribers. That's why they said nothing when the left went berserk on all of us and started deplatforming all of us, started to censor all of us, because they were happy to allow the left to remove their intellectual betters from the marketplace of ideas where they cannot survive if they're forced to compete in a fair environment. Do you understand what I'm saying? So their thing is they never cared about it because they're going to do it themselves one day. And why? Why would they? Let's be real. Because neocons are leftists. Neocons share nothing in common with conservatives or MAGA. They share a root word with conservatives. That's it. And it's a misleading trick of language. They are leftists. Bill Kristol's daddy, Irving, was a Trotskyite. William Buckley can kiss my grits. The guy's textbook happy loser. There's nothing conservative about them. They support mass surveillance. They support mass censorship. They support mass expansion of government and police state power for domestic security things at home and nation building abroad. Nothing conservative about any of that. Those are left-wing ideas. Nothing but love for you, baby. Yeah. What do you got? Okay, I'll check it out when you come home. All right. Love you too. Be quick because my heart cannot last without you. The minute you leave, my skin burns. I got more where that comes from. Riz. W Riz. Still have the clapping seals. Oh no! I didn't have it turned on. She left. I don't know how to do it. How do I turn on the auto clapper? Oh, yeah, I got it. I got it. You guys ready? Still have the clapping, because I said it wrong. Still have the seal clappers you have to say. Are you ready? Clapping seals. I said it backwards. That's why. All right. Going on slandering you and Barnes that don't like what y'all say. Gas is hitting new highs and it's not even the summer. Steven, all we need to hear from those losers is an apology. I don't know what they're still talking for. Why are they still talking? Apology. That's all we need to hear from you, stupid simpleton morons. You're dumb. Nothing you have said has been true. Nothing that you predicted has come true. Literally everything I warned about has happened. Everything. We are in this position because I saw the future and they didn't. Because that is actually my job, unlike them who pretend. They pretend to know public opinion. They don't actually interview anyone, so I don't know how they would. See, this is what I continue to stress. The reason why the wannabes and the seal clappers, right? I got to say it the other way to trigger it. The reason why the wannabes and the seal clappers will never be as good is because I never, even as a critic, I never was like them in so it's like I always did this job. So I was always coming from a place of I have my own data to see what I think compared to these other people. They're frauds. They're wannabes. They're posers. They don't do the job. They couldn't do it if I invited them here and told them to go to town. They wouldn't know the first thing to do. Mark was right. I was right. Robert was right. And we're in this shit position now because nobody wanted to listen. Trump is the worst kind of leader to be supported by sycophants. He is the worst kind because he judges off of flattery and he wants to be praised and he's transactional. He's the kind of leader that needs people who have the balls to tell him the truth, even when they know it may personally hurt them. All great leaders try to surround themselves with people like that. They do not want yes men all around them. They don't make great leaders. They make disasters, leaders like that. I don't even know what they're still talking for. It's embarrassing. They should be humiliated. They should be embarrassed, too embarrassed to try to offer up their opinion anymore. How about a prisoner exchange? We give them all the neocons and we get Mark Mitchell. I'm sending this one too, dude. Oh my God. Just keeps getting better and better. Oh my God. And better. I'm literally putting that in the chat. Oh, honey, are you here? I got you something and it's here. You saw it? Oh my God. Do you like it? Do you like it? I just thought this was the bee's knees. Notice the buttons.
Oh,
Hold on one second, guys. That looks way better than I thought it was going to. If I wasn't such a coveting dirtbag, I would say you got to show how. Not dirtbag, but I'm a bit of a coveter. All right, I would tell locals. I would tell you to show the viewers that Laura is like Melania. She likes no fashion wise. Like you don't like to dress like dainty little girls. When I mean you like that too. You have your ladies, like that. But she's
have a very strong.
She's like what's the word I'm looking for? Like
an alpha female, I guess.
Like professional, alpha business authority kind of look. Yeah. That's the way to go. She's got similar tastes like that. And I found the cutest blazer dress and I bought it and I got it for her and she looks adorable. I saw it was delivered and I was like, oh no, she just left and she didn't see the package. Can I see it or you threw it out? I'd love to see it. I mean, that's so cute. I'm so glad, honey. I'm so glad. I knew it was going to look great on you. I didn't even tell you what you said on locals. Yes, I did. Okay, I'll just write it in the chat. I'm just writing that until I just put it in there, Cynic. All right, and use your imagination, bro. I'm not writing that in the chat, but I will write. I can get the actual transcript if you want and put it in there. That's actually funny because it came in that little package.
Yeah, it was like so cool to open.
Oh my God. Can I feel it real quick and just see what it feels like? Oh my God. This is actually really nice.
Material.
It's like that feels like my Vickers. You know what I mean? Or like my
But I'm
Tourette's.
definitely gonna need
Nah.
Yeah.
No, sir.
Yes. Sir.
Don't you kill the best part.
That best part.
She's more conservative than me. That's for sure. When it comes to like outfits, that is. Republicans are socialists too. They love giving taxpayer money to bail out corporations. Yup. And that's why, like, there was this like back and forth between that one of those seal clapping wannabes and the dude who started Aiden, who started America First. There was this back and forth on X, and like, of course, the clapper was arguing that Trump didn't stop deportations. He didn't slow them down. Yes, he did. They're just doing the underground G-man thing. Dude, shut up. That's a message that I helped them craft. Like, what are you talking? You know nothing. They should have taken the better advice, however, which was to just alter how you're doing these mass deportations, very minimal. Also, one of the most popular things about how Trump was doing mass deportations was targeting big businesses like that. So what you just said is very, very true, Yard Hatch, right? Like, and the American people hate it. They think after a while, this Republican Party, this version of the Republican Party, they're not going to vote for it. And they would rather vote for Democrats, no matter how much you try to scare them with stupid, like, oh, he's a socialist. Because in fact, you are a socialist too. You're just giving to big business and you're just letting big business off the hook, where Democrats are actually throwing breadcrumbs, but they're throwing something to people. So that's Democrats will win that fight every time. Well, Trump allowed all of his, and listen, one of them in particular is his really good friend. So all of the big hospitality folks, all of the big agriculture people, all the big restaurant, leisure and hospitality people, they basically now are exempt. There are no mass targeting of big businesses and illegal immigrants that are hired by big businesses, including his friends. And it looks really, really bad. And all of the focus groups we did, all of the polling we did, people weren't stupid. They knew exactly what he was doing. They knew exactly what he was doing. What are you trying to do?
I'm just trying to place it down.
Why don't you use the hook behind over there? I don't have another hanger for my coats or anything. I will grab it when I am done and I will put it on a hanger. Okay. If that's the way you want to do it. Yeah, there's nothing's going to happen long reach in Georgia. Not right now, you know. Ginger comes up with some witty stuff. You ready? Laura's worried you'd take a trip to Cleveland. $10 points for Ginger. 10 points for Ginger. Yeah. That's some good stuff. And Real Name Redacted said, Rich, you can't be embarrassed if you don't have a conscience. That's so true. That's so true. I mean, I guess that's true, right? I mean, that's what it comes down to, is it not? How could you be embarrassed if you don't have a conscience? I totally agree with that. Yeah, guys, I think we're going to be in the neighborhood of like negative 15, maybe, for the approval, something like that. I don't want you to. I showed you the raw here. It's not going to change dramatically. Democrats are going to have a healthy lead on the generic ballot. The sample will be the registered sample will be around 3,000 or so once we go through data quality checks and all of that. The likely probably around 2,300. You're not going to see much more than that because we're filtering now. I told you at some point we have to tighten the likely voter model because you're just going to see all this BS, tons of someone else undecided. They're not going to vote for, you will see maybe 2% of a third party vote share, guys, like that, you know? And so you'll even see that more now in our polling now. But if we keep the screen tighter until it warrants widening it, you're going to see that third party vote share fall anyway. Watch. As we get closer to the election, that's what will happen. So yeah, Cynic, I did write it in locals. I'm sure you can use your imagination. I get that a lot, actually. We all get it. All the agents get it. Big data poll with a POLE, and it's always women. It's never men. Well, not never, but it's mostly women. They'll be like, wait a minute. Matt from Big Data Poll. Do you have a big data poll, Rich? I'm like, oh my God, ladies, chill out. And they don't even know who I am. They're just trying to embarrass them. You know, like they're just trying to embarrass the agent. I know. I didn't say it. Yeah, my audience is pretty awesome, actually. So I keep sending some of the chat questions over to the group chat, and they're like, your audience is awesome. Yeah, they are. And we'll have an exclusive for you guys pretty soon. I think that prisoner exchange idea is perfect, by the way. I think that's pretty much perfect. All right. It is 2:18. So I'm going to get going and I'm going to say hello to my son, and then I'm going to go and crunch the poll. That's the plan. I think we're about done here. I do find it funny how like the phone is ringing. You remember that, Laura? The phone, you'll be right here. Wonder Pets. I don't know. If you're not a parent, you're not my age. You don't know what the hell I'm talking about. There used to be the show Wonder Pets. Kids loved it. I think the phone, we're going to lean pretty heavily on this cycle. I know we'll always need to go alternative routes to get certain respondents. It's just the way it is. But I think a lot of, I'm going to call them alternative pollsters, non-legacy media pollsters, I think they had a lot of huge misses in 22 because they didn't rely enough on high interest voters. And in midterms, that's what it's all about. So you will be able to tell pretty easily, judging by like if somebody has like 15% for someone else, third party, it's almost certain, like YouGov, perfect. YouGov, the panel, whether it's The Economist or Yahoo or CBS, CBS tends to screen out a lot of people. They do. So that's why even though they're using the same data set as Yahoo, as The Economist, as YouGov themselves when they release their own polls, they're using the same data set as them, but they're coming up with like radically different results. And that's because they're screening the hell. Oh my God. That's because they're screening so much. I got a text message. Wonder Pets, we're on our way to save the GOP from itself and the country from leftist control. You know it. That's the song. You Wonder Pets. Oh my God, you better call Renee right now. That's the only place. The purse was not in the locker when we left. It was not.
No, I didn't.
So it has to be with Renee.
You locked the door when we went to the gym?
Yes.
Can I have your keys for now?
Girl.
Stop it. I ain't got time for this.
What else is in there? Just the keys and your cards? Yo, you better go digging. I'm trying to think of where it was. Check behind the cushion on the couch where the dog goes. Sometimes he leans on it and whatever's in it can fall below or back. But you had your key when we left. You better call Renee, honey bunny. Call Renee. All right. Oh, God, you had a rough week so far, baby. I'm not going to hold it against you. You got a rough week. It's been a doozy for her. She felt awful about the car. She didn't even do anything. All she did was park the car. It's not her fault. White liberals in giant Suburbans white liberal women, middle-aged white liberal women in giant Suburbans with cameras everywhere can't park their fucking car. And honestly, my dealership guy was like, dude, I don't even like selling those big SUVs to that kind of woman. It's just true. They don't have any ruggedness in them. They're just like bougie, pretend rugged, and they just can't drive something like that. Like if you can't drive a boat, don't drive a boat. Like if you can't, guys, if you would see this space, like how she hit the car, it's ridiculous. I wish politicians had balls, and when I lived in Florida, I wish the politicians had balls to be like, if you're above the age of 70, you can't drive anymore. And it's like, everyone's terrified of AARP. Within the next 10 years or so, we may actually be able to get some reasonable laws like that. Why? Well, because the first boomer generation will be 90. Telling you, there will be dramatic changes to the electorate. Dramatic, and people better get their act together or it's a wrap. You know what I'm saying? It is a total wrap. Let me see if I can't get it into the thing right now, but I'll share the link. Boom, get her. Rumble. Do we have any rants over there? I don't know why I can't see rants. Boom. Oh, I can see the rant. Does your polling suggest? This is JDarg GA65. Do you see polling that suggests GOP voters can be hoodwinked with deportations like Trump is trying? No, they're not being hoodwinked. That's a great question. When the migrants were hiding initially, we realized visually what we could have back. JD, that is a really, really, really good question. I'm glad you asked it. They can't be hoodwinked. We've done a ridiculous amount of research privately, including for them. So they know this. That's what pisses me off. They know. And they're basically, especially the president, he's just allowing himself to be convinced of an alternative reality, the way he did for the Iran war, because he wants his donors to be happy. He wants them to be right. I'm telling you, in this case, one of them particularly is his friend. It's a problem. And his friend wants amnesty. He wants to give it to him. He wants to be liked. He wants Hispanics to like him again. That won't help it, but he's convincing himself that it will. So not only can they not be hoodwinked by the seal clapping morons who, want to try to dupe you into believing there's still mass deportations going on in the same way it was in the first 6 months, for instance, first year. You got it?
I put them away.
Can you leave my keys then, Pumpkin? I mean, Baby Bird? I'm getting old. I'm mixing up your names. That's my girlfriend. I'm sorry. Pumpkin's my girlfriend. You're Baby Bird. I keep forgetting.
I'll forgive you.
My Gumad.
Yeah.
It's my daughter. I call my daughter Pumpkin. All right. Speaking of which, where is my pumpkin? Oh, not time yet. You should be like, you know what? Before you go to dance, you should just make sure you go in and say hi to your dear old father. He's had a rough week. Don't blow past him today. Give your dear old father who loves you so much a hug and a kiss and say, how was your day, Dad? Anyway, back to the clapping seals. What was I saying? What? It's all right. Just go. I'll see.
I need the keys.
Oh, you can't find.
They're somewhere, but I'm just.
But you found the wallet.
Yes.
Okay. They were attached to that wallet.
But because they don't fit in the black purse.
Calm down, baby. Everything's going to be all right. I love you. I love you, baby. Drive safe. Watch out for liberal white women in Suburbans. Actually, that was an expedition. What was I saying about them again? Yeah, they can't be people can't be hoodwinked. Not even his own voters. Our most MAGA voters, I would say like 60. I wouldn't say. I'm telling you, around like 60 to 2/3 of MAGA want to agree with Trump no matter what. And then you have about 1/3 of MAGA who actually is really mad over the deportation issue, and they don't want to support an amnesty as it is put forward right now. And like Maria Salazar's amnesty, she'll kill 1/3 of the MAGA, like what's left of MAGA, she'll kill 1/3 of it. They're done. They're done. The amnesty breach of the contract part, the amnesty betrayal part, will be that's it. Like MAGA's already shrunken to like unbelievable. Did MAGA come in lower overall? Because I don't know how it came in last night. Last night, MAGA identification may have bumped it back to a larger share than traditional, but man, it's close. And that's only, in truth, I'm just going to tell you, that's only because of the phone. It's only because of the phone. Online, traditional's winning, and winning kind of easily. And the phone is more high interest. So it held it for a little bit. But okay, so with all registered voters, no, MAGA did not win. But with the tighter vote screens, MAGA did win by about 4 points, which is pathetic. That's pathetic. We all know that. That isn't close. Among all likely voters, Republicans are barely slightly more than equally aligned among those independent identification. America First is way higher than MAGA. Yeah, they won. MAGA won. America First MAGA won by 2 points, 47-45. If it's all likely voters, I don't think it did still. Let me see. I mean, not all likely, all voters. It won by a point. And I'm telling you, that is solely because of last night. Traditional Republican was stomping MAGA and America First. I was like, oh my God, this is pathetic. Not stomping, but it was, 47-40, 47-42. It was not good. So this will come out basically even. Basically. And I don't know. We'll see when we do some the geographic part of that. I'm going to get too specific. It may end up that it isn't, in fact. It may end up that traditional is slightly ahead. Maybe. I mean, guys, out of over 1,100 interviews, they're separated by like 10 interviews. It's crazy. So that, the weights could send that in either direction. Could help MAGA more. Could not. I don't know. And I'm not sure, and I don't want to make that determination yet. 54 plus 6, 60 on the dot for the more likely the voter, though, on the Democratic side, the more socialist they are. It's kind of scary. Among all registered voters with the independent identification, Republicans are actually dead last. Would you say your views are more closely aligned to the Republican Party, the Democratic Party, equally close to the Republican Party and the Democratic Party, or share little in common with either? Share little in common with either is number one. Democrats are number two. Equally aligned, number three. Republican, dead last. Now, Republicans do go into third with that, above equally aligned, barely, with more likely voters. I just can't believe how many people independents call themselves MAGA and are not MAGA now. I can't believe this. Cannot believe this, man. It's so ugly. We're basically back to English ethnicity hating Donald Trump, which used to be like really good in 24. And it was not good in 20. It was like they were kind of like, if you were English identification in Pennsylvania, it was critical. Trump was winning the Germans. He just wasn't winning them by a large enough number. And then he lost so much support with English ethnicity. It's just like wasps, And then American, he would be winning American, but 24, he was crushing American ethnicity, winning English, winning German, and just beating her about everything. It was just, she had no chance. She had no chance. Kamala Harris was never ahead in 2024. I'm going to say it again. Kamala Harris was never ahead in 2024. Never. Never, 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 never. Oh, yeah, it's just too high school, man. Yeah, he's going to 40. His approval may be like 39 plus 7.7 or something, which rounds him to 40. I don't know. We'll see. The sooner I get crunching, the sooner I know. It's 2:30. We'll end it there as long as I don't see any more. I think I got through all the comments, Rumble rants. JD, I hope I got to your comment in time, because I actually saw that you had you had put that comment up there a while ago. Laura's the only one allowed to call Rich Big Data. Oh yeah, she's probably listening. Is she in the locals chat? Rich, I was watching. Oh, this is I like that, Ginger. I'm gonna take a picture of that and send that to her. Actually, that one's good. Ginger's got good stuff, man. Ginger, you better come back to book club, bro. Don't forget about the locals book club, peeps. It's fun. Ginger came by for the first time last Sunday. It's fun. And he actually caught us reading a book for once. It was incredible. We took some time where we weren't reading the book. For those of you who may want to join for the first time, we're reading this right now, A Demon of Our Own Design by Richard Bookstaber. And next one we're going to be reading is The Israeli Lobby. We've been very prescient in book selections. This one got off the track a little bit because Trump started a war. But it's going to turn out good, because I actually think what Bookstaber's thesis is going to come in very handy, unfortunately, in the near future. And then the Israel lobby is just something we're going to have to continuously contend with throughout the Trump era, the rest of the Trump era, however may long that lasts, given that Democrats will probably be able to remove him this time if this keeps up. But we'll see. Maybe Republicans will somehow limit their defeat, and they won't have the votes to remove him. But as of right now, you can see from that margin, they will. Ooh. Rich, I was watching a segment on the Lotus Eaters, and they were discussing how does the public or voters get their information on what a party or candidate stands for. I think it's important what people think the Republicans, Democrats, or individual people stand for is often not closely associated with their record or even campaigns. True. Has this been studied and what can be done? I think people who follow closely are confused by what normies think they know. That's so damn true. It has been studied. Parties have studied this, actually, and Democrats are better at looking at this, by the way, way better. But yes, and you can do baseline stuff, man. Like, what is that? What'd she write? Hold on. That's right, locals. You know the deal. These tra-la-las better recognize. That's what you said. And Ginger, that's what she said in response. I'm going to do a little laughing emoji. There we go. So, right. So, look, there's like very baseline understanding of this. What source do you get your news from? Versus like traditional media. Among that, what media are you getting your sources from? Do you even get it from traditional media? Instead, do you get it from social media? There's also, which we have studied in more detail, the impact of the entertainment industry in general. Are you a Netflix subscriber? Are you a Prime subscriber? Are you a Hulu subscriber? We've gone through this now in more detail. And what are your social circles and their interactions? And obviously social class, that helps develop your social circles, right? Are you a professional class person? What industry do you work in, right? All of this stuff matters. And the right doesn't seem to fully understand this yet. I thought they were starting to grip this in 24. There were people around who did understand this better. By the way, Melania is very smart when it comes to this. The Trump administration turned into dinosaurs. They didn't campaign like this, but all they're interested with, and that's why you see Trump just obsessed with Fox News and obsessed with Hannity and obsessed with Mark Levin. Like, he really thinks television's all that matters. And it's really kind of sad. And it's hard to understand, hard to really grapple with, because this was a campaign that did not run like that. And it's like, you can say all you want about the midterms and it's older voters, and that's all bullshit. It doesn't have to be. You made it that way again. And by the way, it was a stupid, flawed strategy from the beginning, because older voters who consume legacy media channels and are high propensity voters are not even majority Republican voters anymore. So I don't know what the hell you were thinking. You were thinking we're fucking 10 years ago. Sorry, Laura. You were thinking you lived 10 years ago. It's just not true anymore. So what can be done about it? The Democrats are already and have been already doing things about it. Republicans need to wake up. Republicans are way behind on understanding how Americans digest information, where they get it from, how long it takes for narratives to set in, how are they telling themselves these stories based on what they're consuming. Like, they don't get this at all. They don't even understand. You can try to start to explain it to them, Robert, and they look at you with the side eye, stink eye look, like, what is this guy talking about? It's really pathetic. It's really pathetic. It's crazy, man. Really is. Do you see the video of our favorite Somali representative talking about World War II? I did not. Ilhan Omar. Right? It's Ilhan Omar? It's got to be. Oh, Lord. Here we go. I think I got it. It's not that long, though, right? Let's screen share. Boop. Boop, boop. Boop, boop. This one looks like this, right? All right. Oh, it's got text below it. So let me remove your comment real quick. Here we go.
The last time the Alien Enemies Act was invoked, it was used to detain and deport German, Japanese, Italian immigrants during World War XI.
When you wrote it like that, Shock, I was like, All right, he meant 2 eyes. He must have meant 2 eyes. Nope, he did not mean 2 eyes. He meant 11. During World War 11. Oh, that's worth listening to again. Let's go.
The last time the Alien Enemies Act was
genius.
invoked, it was used to detain and deport German, Japanese, Italian immigrants during World War XI.
Doing World War 11. We're a national. We're just an embarrassment. We're a global embarrassment. We're just such a stupid country. I'm sorry. I'm starting to sound like Trump 1.0 over here. We're a bunch of suckers, man. What a bunch of stupid suckers. And instead of being able to deport this community, they caved because they lost to Jacob Fry and Tim Waltz. I mean, that's the truth, guys. That's the truth. All they had to do was take 3 simple suggestions and go from there. And Americans, they wanted mass deportation so bad, they gave them so much grace for so long, so much leeway, and he blew it. He blew it. All right. And don't even dare, come in my chat room with that clap and seal bullshit about what's it called? The undercover, like their undercover brother deportations or something. Like, dude, just shut up. Like, you just shut up, dude. I don't have it in me to shill like that. And it's funny because I don't know who the hell you're talking to. I talk to a high-ranking administration official on a daily basis, basically. We rarely don't talk. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I know exactly how this happened, what went down. And the reason why you're not seeing deportations and the numbers that you were seeing originally is really twofold. I tweeted this earlier today. One is Trump refocused away from, which means he caved, which means he gave in to GOP donors, his new friends and some old friends in hospitality, in agriculture, and in restaurant business. And the second thing is he got frustrated by the setbacks, the legal and the political setbacks, the political damage they were suffering over how they mishandled Minnesota, which led to all of that BS and the shootings and all of that. And he's frustrated over the judges' rulings. So now he started a war and he can't focus on dealing with this problem. So instead, he's just scaling back. And they're pretending they're doing it undercover style. It's, guys, yes, it is true that they're targeting other people and it's much more below the radar, but you can't carry out his campaign promise doing it like this. And the worst part about it is who they're targeting is not even the more popular ones. Americans wanted big businesses targeted. They wanted them targeted. They thought they were the general problem. If you're going to get rid of those illegal immigrants, you cannot do it without punishing the people who incentivize them coming here in the first place. They wouldn't come if the president's friend wasn't waiting with a job in Las Vegas for him. Give me a break, man. That was the popular way to deport people, not undercover brother targets. We don't even know what they do. So we just pop up on MSNBC and they can say whatever they want. Like, we came in the night and stole mom, left a 4-year-old child screaming on the floor. Mama, mama. Idiots, man. So simple. Those reforms were simple and they were reasonable to the point where it's like, why weren't you doing this to begin with? Why did you let it get here? He did a lot of good in his first year with deportations. This year is a wash. It's a wash. That's why the numbers are what they are. I mean, it's so funny. It's like people can argue this stuff, but it's like demonstrably false, easily provable to be false. There are actual deportation numbers. Didn't Aiden put them up, actually? Because, I mean, I'd go get them too. But, yeah, he did. And called the kid a retard, too. Yes. Here are... From April 23rd, here is the post. Open image. This is from the U.S. Immigrations and Customs Enforcement. Let me just get the graph. I mean, this is not, again, this is not debatable. This is from U.S. Customs and Immigration Enforcement. Initial average bookings per day by arresting agency. There's CPB arrests. There's ICE arrests. They are falling. Why? What happened in January? What happened in January? Right. Exactly. Oh my God. Big bad Jacob Fry's on the move. Better cave. Pathetic. Apps. It's just pathetic. It's pathetic. And to sit there and argue anything else is just a lie. They're lying to you. They're lying to you. That's what it looks like. Immigration arrests were nothing. Of course, are they better under Biden? I mean, look, obviously, Biden had a lot of CPB arrests because we had an invasion going on. They were being arrested on purpose in between ports of entry. That's what they do, or sometimes in the ports of entry. And then you have, like, of course, partial month data because of the government shutdowns. The ICE arrests are what you really saw boom when Donald Trump took over. You can see that first dotted line. It's called a plot band. That's where Trump took over from Biden. You can immediately see that very month that ICE arrests surpassed CPP arrests. And then we saw huge disparities in them. And that's good. That means it's more than just arresting people before the between ports of entry, as we saw more than ICE arrests under Biden. And it's still way more, and that's good, but it's on the decline. And it's on the decline immediately after it was widely publicly reported that they are scaling back the operations. Why is it hit so hard when he exempts the agricultural industry, when he exempts food and hospitality industries? Because that's where they are. Notice he never did hit full, like, construction and stuff, like trade and stuff like that. You know, you want to hurt the economy, no doubt, like badly like that. But, you know, so how much more will it fall? Right? I mean, that's ultimately the question. All right. Let me kick rocks. Time to get out of here. Go do my poll. Right? Do you think World War XI was the best World War? I had to just put this one up here, man. I mean, we're laughing, but it's like, this is really serious that these people are this dumb, you know? It's really serious. It's terrible. And on Rumble, I got you. I see you. Here I come. Will someone explain the turning point, guys, that Eric has lost the narrative war? Ooh. The world isn't X, it's Instagram Reels. It's not fair or right to her, but she may not have to be the public face. Let me put it this way. The number of people that have said that isn't zero, okay? It isn't zero. I think that's objectively true. I think Erica needs to take some time and revamp her image. And I'm not even saying all of it's fair, because I don't think a lot of it is fair. I think Candace is a piece of crap. Like, I do. And you guys know that, all right? I think Candace is a major grifter. Like, we've moved the goalposts away from Erica being part of her husband's assassination plot. We've moved the goalposts, but Erica's tarnished from it. And honestly, I think TPUSA needs to sue her. I do. Like, because there has to be a penalty. There has to be a punishment for recklessly accusing people without any evidence of grotesque accusations. Grotesque. All in the name of asking questions. That's bullshit. And I hope they do, because there has to be some minimum standard of behavior in this space. There has to be. Like, what Candace did was essentially as reckless as the mainstream media with Russia collusion. JD, always appreciate you, bro. As one of the hidden long-term unemployed, I got all day. Oh, cool, bro. I was hoping I didn't, like, not see your thing and then went on, you know. Trump and company also have no clue how many junior level management are in doomsday mode. So just laughing in my agony. Yeah, I don't think they fully appreciate this, man. I don't. And it's weird because it's like all of the data points back up what we're saying. What are you arguing with exactly? Like, is everybody just lying? It's crazy. This is crazy. To live in your own world like this is just crazy. And not to mention, it's harmful to the so-called forgotten men and women that you said you were going to care for, that were going to be your priority. It's sad. It's sad. I legit feel for these people, and you as well. Like, it's wrong, and it sucks, and they're going to pay for it, and it's like that kind of sucks too, because what's the alternative? There was a clip. Maybe I should get this clip. I think it was, what's his name? I don't see him very often anymore, but somebody sent it to me. He was on Alex Jones, and he said, like, he described the choice between not voting and, holding your nose and voting for Republicans in the midterms. Let me see if I can find it. Here it is. I got it at 3 minutes and 19 seconds. Maybe I don't have to download the whole thing. Can I just grab it? Which he is acknowledging. It's Mark Dice. He's acknowledging that Trump is committing political suicide. He's acknowledging it, but he's trying to like reach out to people who are rightfully angry and say, look, though, this alternative is not a good alternative. And K-Cap, before I get to your last one about the influencers, actually, let me reel this. Let me read this about those reels before I play Mark Dice, because the women issue, we focus a lot on what happened with men, Trump support among men. Bro, those women in these that are watching those Instagram reels, if you go and look at our polling, you'll actually see the biggest shift away from Donald Trump was among the women 18 to 29 who supported him. That has completely cratered. And it's like, of course, you weren't going to see Trump win those women, but you can't get blown away like that. You can't see 40 plus point swings. So that makes like the 8-10 point swing among men nothing. Like net, actually, it's net more than that, but you know what I mean? It's like net 15 now or something. But that pales in comparison when you see, right, I didn't start off with as much support among those young women, but among those who did support me, the swing away from me is way bigger. That hurts more. That actually hurts more, even though those women are a smaller group. It's just because it's such a bigger swing by a factor of 4 that they're not a smaller group by a factor of 4. So disproportionately, those women are actually hurting Trump more. And so just to read the comment I'm talking about right now, guys, on Rumble, it's a Rumble rant. No amount of influencers on X browbeating people is going to fix it for TPUSA. That is true. That's why I'm saying part of the reason why I'm recommending they sue her is because a lot of this stuff comes out about, and you're waiting so long. By the time it does come out, you may not convince anybody. You're going to, like people's minds will already be hardened. So I agree. I know too many Trump voters who share the reels on Instagram like crazy, mostly women. Bro, totally right. And I don't know. I can't tell whether you're a guy or a girl in your chats. If you want to put it in the chat. No, I'm suggesting, by the way, you're talking, you're a guy. That is so true. It's not even funny. So the anti-Erica Kirk stuff, the Candace stuff, distinct women flavor about it. And that's not good because she was coming out like she was going to do for young women what Charlie did for young men. It's not working out. All right. It's just not. And I think there's a very clear path. And, I've made my feelings known. It is not working out. It's not. And that's whether it doesn't matter if you want it to be true or not. It ain't working. All right. And again, I don't like Candace, but she won that for now. All right, so here's Alex Jones interviewing Mark Dice, and I want to end with this because this is Mark Dice's plea for people not to sit out the election, for people to go on regardless, despite the fact that he knows that Republicans are pieces of shit and liars and Trump betrayed everybody, right? He knows that, and he's saying you just got to suck it up anyway, and here's why. All right.
And if you sit out the midterms, then you are de facto giving a vote to the Democrats. It's sort of like we're in the desert, we're starving and we're thirsty, and we come across the table and there's some dirty water that's warm and has some bugs floating in it. And then there is a pile of dog poop and some urine. Okay, those are basically the choices. So it's not perfect. He's never going to be perfect. You don't have to support the man, you support the party. And no matter how much they let us down, no matter how corrupt they are, it still is better than the alternative. And it's not, you're not going to rally so many people to not vote.
And the real reform is in the Republican Party. There are a lot of good local and federal people. So, check it all and get behind the good ones. Exactly. I would say it's like moldy bread and some, water that tastes bad that isn't poison versus rotting roaches and dog crap. It's absolutely the same thing.
Actually, and I'll leave you this. Local is actually more important than federal. Your local city council, your state legislature, your mayor, your sheriff, vote local. And for those people who don't know some of those positions, you can just go and look up your Republican voter guide. So the Republican Party does put out a voter guide showing who they back, because some of these positions in local elections don't have a political party affiliation. And so you don't want to get some liberal sheriff, because the sheriffs in even certain areas of Los Angeles and other parts of Southern California would not enforce the lockdowns during COVID from Governor Newsom. And so if we
good
can get
sheriffs
those
are the first thing in the Magna Carta of a real elected person for the people.
Yes.
The sheriff's one of the most important positions out there.
Yes.
School board, city council, state legislature, mayors, governors, probably even more important, way more important than actually federal elected officials. But
Yeah,
also
I'm glad that Trump went sideways, because now we can stop obsessing on him and talk about the future.
No.
And, I think people should to look at the importance of the midterms as well, in terms of taking on the importance of having a majority in the House and in the Senate, because if we don't, then he can't get his legislation passed, and they can impeach him and tie things up. They have subpoena
And they're
power.
going to pack the Supreme Court and do the filibuster. Yeah, we've got to work even harder in this next midterm. I disagree with Nick Fuentes. Punish the Republicans, kick them out. No way.
All right, we don't have to listen to Alex's outro, but you get the point. You get the gist. And I think that's good advice for Republicans. Like, when parties go down like this, it is always good to reestablish your base, focus on the local. Local is extremely important. I've argued for a long time. The election of 2020 should have taught you that local was extremely important. And now this is probably the right time to do that, including you have people like Foes running as a Democrat in Minnesota. I just don't see why you wouldn't, in local and state races, why you wouldn't infiltrate the Democratic Party the way that the Democratic Party has infiltrated the National Republican Party. Even state. Look at Indiana. I mean, that's why you got screwed. Those guys are Democrats. They just have R's next to their name because they can win easier in those areas as Republicans, but they're not actually Republicans. That's a great, this would be a great time to do that. It really would. All right. Don't forget, guys, if you like the videos, the little one's not here to do it. He's way better than me. If you like the videos, don't forget to like them and to share them far and wide. I have the link to the public polling project down below. The final poll for Kentucky 4 is up. I did it again and forgot the book link, but I did put it in the chats. I think I put it in basically every chat. And don't forget, if you haven't grabbed your copy of Burn It Down, please go do so. Pre-orders are very important. And that book is very, very, very important. Extremely important. I'm not just saying this because it's my book, but it is the most important book to be written this year. It is. Period. End of story. Because this is what will decide the future of politics going forward. Whether or not Republicans can come to grips with this or not. Whether they understand how quickly the electorate will change dramatically and shift right beneath. If they don't grab their position They don't secure what they stand for. And they allow Democrats to do what they're doing right now, which is basically fake being MAGA. There are tons of Democrats who are doing MAGA right now better than Republicans are. If they don't fix this, it's kiss it all goodbye. And today is a great example. The decision on the Voting Rights Act doesn't mean shit if Republicans get clobbered in November. It won't mean anything. Democrats will blunt the effects of it. Come 28, they'll win the presidency. No citizenship question will be added to the census. Republican areas will be undercounted, and they will survive in the Electoral College. When the alternative could have been, don't put Israel first, put America first, make sure that you don't get your butts kicked in November. You take full advantage of the Voting Rights Act decision. You set up J.D. Vance because Marco Rubio cannot win. You set up J.D. Vance for success in 28. He wins. He's not an idiot like all these other people are. He's the only one in D.C. with a brain. You set him up to win in 28. You get the citizenship question on the census, and Democrats are locked out for decades. Citizenship question takes 20 at least. And I'm telling you it's more. It's like 23, 25. It takes 20, I'll be conservative, House seats away from Democrats, just like that. Gone. And of course, it also impacts the Electoral College and appropriations, government appropriations. But putting appropriations aside, the Electoral College will shift dramatically to Republicans. It will be, I don't want to say impossible, but it will be extremely difficult for Democrats to ever win the presidency in the near future. So you're basically guaranteeing, you put Israel ahead of guaranteeing 2 out of 3 branches of government for 20 years. That's what Mark Levin did. That's what Ben Shapiro did. And that's what Donald Trump did. That's what Donald Trump let happen. That's just a fact. So stop sniffing your own farts. Take your heads out of your asses. Take a look around. View reality. Accept it. And now move forward. Otherwise, you're cooked. And I think what Mark Dice said is enough to get some of those people back to vote. I do. Will it shift the independent vote? Not much. It'll get some right-wing independents maybe more fired up, but not much. You have to explain what I just explained. Like, we know we let you down. Sister soldier it. Be a real man and admit you effed up. That's what real men do. They don't just declare victory and deny and deny and deny and fight and fight and fight. How did he end up teaching you that doctrine? How did his life end again? Oh, yeah. Right. Didn't end well. How's his reputation? Right. Is that what you want as a president? You want to go down like that? No, you don't. You want to go down like Bill Clinton. Guy's friggin' beloved still. Everything he did. With everything he did. Guy clearly was sharing little girls with Jeffrey Epstein on Pedo Island, and yet he's beloved. Sister soldier it, be a man, sister soldier it, and move forward. You ever think for a second this shit is bigger than you, dude? Apparently not. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. All right, it's at peoples_pundit on X and the gram. All right, links are in the description. The best place, of course, to follow us is on Locals, peoplespundit.locals.com, peoplespundit.locals.com. The link to the public polling project as well. Kentucky 4 is what it's all about, guys. Just ignore the national thing for now. Kentucky 4. It's funded pretty well, actually. I think it's up to like maybe $2,000 or something. It's pretty good. It's a good start. But of course, that primary soon. So if we want to do a final poll, we gotta get this thing funded and cooking here. All right. With that in mind, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to kick rocks. So I hope you all have a great rest of the day. And Locals, I'll see you a little later. All right. Keep your eye out because, of course, I'll be dripping over the crosstabs on Locals very, very soon. I'm going to start as soon as this music is over and I'm out. I'm going to start getting it ready. And then later after that, we'll have the press release. Maybe we can get it out by like 8 o'clock tonight. Locals, you'll have it before then. But I'm saying like the official press release probably won't be out until 8 o'clock. All right. Because I'm going to do two. Maybe I'll split up. Maybe the generic ballot won't go out until tomorrow. I don't know. I'll probably wind up trying to dump it all tonight, but we'll see. I don't want to make any promises. All right, guys. Nothing but love for you. Have a great rest of the day. Thanks for watching as always. Oh, I'm going to be sending out a questionnaire about potential primetime slots. Okay. And please answer to the best of your ability. See you guys soon.